I'm Kabbani, and this is the Lighthouse for today's viewers.
The key to infinite worth. This is the key that unlocked the door that led me into your life. Mind is everywhere. That which liberates is within you and within me. There is nothing strange about it. It can work in magical, miraculous.
Welcome to our show. Today I have special guest. Sometimes you never know why you call somebody or why you remember this person. Somehow I have my guest, special guest. I met her in 1998 when I had my magazine published at that time. And I actually had an article for her at the magazine at that time. And it was, she was talking about Unity of Oneness. And the article was real good at that time. She was talking about subject, we need to hear about it. So, and she had that tape. I decided to see this tape at that day, to watch this tape, and I thought maybe my viewers will benefit from this information and this kind of treatment. So I decided to call this person to see if she is still around or not, long time ago. So I was shocked when I called her. I have the message at least answered. So from that point, last week, we are here now with Miss MERHO, and let her talk about this article in particular, which I know her from. Welcome to our show, Ms. MERHO.
Thank you so much. You know, the interesting thing about this article, Nancy, is I have been promoting this since 1974, and I went around the world from 74 to 82 to promote unity and oneness. Mm-hmm. And finally I decided I am writing down my thoughts about the world, mm-hmm. not just about one section, but about the whole world, mm-hmm. and how we are all part of each other, and we are all mixtures. Mm-hmm. No one is pure, no one is only one way, everyone mm-hmm. has variables within them. And I wrote this article, and I did not know in the destiny who would publish it. Mm-hmm. And so I put it in my pocket, and I walked around with it in my pocket with my hand on it, and I said, universe, God, infinite intelligence, guide me to the people, the places and things, mm-hmm. the ideas that would come into my life in a very effortless, easy way that would publish this article. Wow. And then I happened to be at the Hilton Hotel, where I never go, and I was in a gallery, and I met you. Mm-hmm. And I told you I had this article, and you said, I'd love to publish it in my magazine, and I said, it's in my pocket.
Yes, that was yes, that was it at that day, yes.
And I gave it to you, and then mm-hmm. you sent about 5 copies to me, and I have 2 left. This mm-hmm. is one of them. And to me, God works in magical, mysterious ways, mm-hmm. and it's not the people, places, and things we imagine that'll come into our life, it's the people that are right.
Wow. I agree with you in so many ways. So what is in that article?
Well, what is in this article, if I may open it
Yes,
to this
sure.
article.
I would like to tell my viewers why
Yes.
we had the article in the magazine.
The article is about, it is spiritual, it's generic, it's not one denomination or another, and it promotes the oneness within all people, the divinity within all people. And the last two lines are, if I may read them, "The future is what we teach our children today. All that I am and all that you are, humanity is." And I really, I've lived all over the world. I took an 8-year journey of faith. I decided I would have to bypass the art field and go around. And so I did it in hospitality centers, which were hotels. And it worked smashingly well because the hotels are apolitical and non-religious. And they're generic,
Yes.
just the way I am.
Yes.
And so I put on abstract art exhibitions, and I learned about the cultures. It was an enormous stretch of faith. I wasn't raised that way in the Midwest. The Midwest is very linear. And we are going to do it like this. This is the goal. This is the focus. And then we manifest this focus. And I said, I'll have to do it in another way because the field I selected did not select me.
I believe so.
And so I did it, and I met people all over the world. And I was wide open because I was raised in the Midwest, and they always said it's one for all and all for one.
Yes, I agree.
And that's the Midwest. It's not LA, it's not New
Yes.
York, but the middle of the country
Yes.
thinks we're all the same, and who cares? And sometimes you only know people's first names, and you never know their last name in the Midwest because they say, what difference does it make?
Yes. So I would like to give our viewers background about you. Just introduce yourself to them.
Okay. I have a BFA and a master's degree in art and the humanities. I got my BFA from the Art Institute of Chicago. And when I wanted to get my graduate degree, my father stressed empowerment and that what you can visualize, you can manifest, and you can always rise to any occasion. And before he passed away in '94, he said, embrace everyone. I said, Dad, I would never have it any other way. And my parents are American, of European heritage, ancestry, and they were both free-spirited and open-minded. And I said, I am going to get into the car in the Midwest, and I'm going to drive across country and knock on the door of UCLA, and it's October, Dad, of '68, and I am going to get my graduate degree and start in January. He said, I never heard of anything so outrageous, they will not be open. I said, what do you want to bet? And he said, I'll pay for it if you get in. I said, plan on it. And I drove across country, arrived October 12th, and on the 14th, I went over to UCLA. They said, the school is closed. And I said, it may be closed, but I drove 2,000 miles, and I'm starting in January.
Okay.
And I started in January.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And I finished in '70, 2 years later, in December.
Yes.
And it was absolutely, completely amazing how that worked. And then I took a meditation class in the early '70s, and I wrote 18 notebooks as an intuitive. And their drawings and their writings, which are in this book. And I read them, and I said, oh God, I hope this doesn't happen, but if it does, I better go around the world and promote unity and oneness.
Wow.
And I said, I don't even know how to begin to do this except to begin where you are. So I had 9 suitcases, 14 little plastic bags, little ones. I didn't want to make them garbage bags because I didn't want to make it a 10 suitcase.
Easy to go.
Yes. The only weight I had and the only barrier was the luggage.
Okay.
But I had my art and all my writings that were inspirational. And I went around the world. And I started in '74, and I'd go to the airport, and the people would be waiting for me. I'd get off the plane, and they'd say, your courtesy car is waiting. And I'd say, who do you think I am? And then I would go to the Hyatt Regency hotels where I had done murals in the United States. And things opened up in magical, unique ways. And I didn't have any definition of what societies I would go into or what they were supposed to think like. I was wide open. And when you're wide open like that, people are open to you.
Yes.
They feel it.
You establish your idea.
Yeah, well, they feel it.
We are one.
Yes.
So you establish your idea through your moving.
And they came forward.
Yes.
I didn't have to look for them. They were there. And when they came forward, I was available.
That's wonderful.
And so it opened, you know, and when I went to hotels and told them what I wanted to do, they said, let's try it. Because it would bring business into their hotels to publicize me, and it would allow me to show my work and sell it and give them a percentage.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
You have a lot of art, actually. We might show our viewers next other shows also.
This is the stained glass piece,
Okay.
you know.
Yes.
But I have all different types of art, but most of the art was abstract because I thought in abstract ways, you know, and I thought that everything in life is fluid. So if you know that nothing is fixed other than the table,
Okay.
that the mind is fluid, ideas flow like the river,
Imagination.
is fluid,
Yes.
and that water seeks its own level. And the level is consciousness.
Wow.
So wherever you go, you draw into your life people that are like you.
Okay.
And if you're in the wrong place, you draw no one.
Like magnetic.
Yes.
You take with magnetic, your magnetic, whatever it comes to your side.
Yes.
Or whatever it matches yours.
Yes. And the door opens, as you open the door within you, the door opens within everyone that's supposed to meet you. And I didn't say the people that connect with me have to be from this country. I didn't have any definition or any opinion or regime of how they were to come to me.
So you are open for all over the world. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and I was open to everyone. And if people weren't open to me, they did not come into my life.
Absolutely.
So
no
it was-
magnetic.
No, there was
No
nothing.
charisma, yes.
So it was perfect. And it was interesting that I chose the arts because I have a BFA and a master's degree in art and the humanities. And the humanities is all of cultures, and you know, and I
Yes.
had an open mind about it and the mythology and folklore of cultures. But I waited for people to come to me in each place. I would get off the plane and say, "Okay, where are you?"
Oh, okay.
into
That's
myself.
a good way, yes.
And
yes.
then a man or woman would come forward and they would point me to the hotel that I was supposed to be in, and I'd say, okay, then that's where I'm supposed to be.
That's wonderful. That's
I
wonderful.
mean, and every place led to the next place.
Like secret communication.
Yes.
Okay.
And when I was in Manila, I was on television there and in newspapers, and I met a Lebanese woman, and she said, she was an artist, she said, you need to go to Beirut. I said, I've never been there in my life. What is it like? She said, well, it's the beginning of the war, but I think it's safe for you to go. I went. It was only because of this meeting with May Bador, who had watched me on television and had come to me when she saw me at a concert.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, and it was like that. And it was men and women that came forward. When I was in Bangkok, for example, I said, how am I going to get out of here with an airline ticket? Because I went completely on faith, but I lived at the top with authenticity and integrity, always. And one woman at the hotel where I was staying in Bangkok said, go to an office building, go to the second floor. It'll be dark on that floor, but the windows will be translucent, not transparent, so the light will shine through. The third door on the right will open when you knock on it, and a woman will hand you a ticket. You hand her the money, whatever it is you plan to spend. So I said, do you mean it? She said, yes. So I got into a three-wheel taxi, went to the office building, had no clue, asked no questions, went to the second floor, knocked on the third door on the right. The woman opened the door with a ticket. I gave her the money and left.
Wow.
I don't even know who she is,
Wow.
what her name is, and I didn't ask.
You don't need the name. You need a ticket.
That's it.
That's wonderful.
But I mean, it was absolutely incredible.
Yes, yes. How long you stay in Beirut?
I was there about 4 months, 3 months one trip and another month. In '77, I did a series of paintings and poetry books. And I decided, because the people were so wonderful to me, that I would go back and donate them to the people, the humanity, 18 paintings and poetry books for all religions.
Wonderful.
Not one.
Yeah.
And I left it with different people. I don't think they published them yet, you know, 27 years later, but they're there. And I don't have them. And I released them so that they could have the thoughts
Yes.
that were inspirational. They had my abstract art, and they had the intent.
This is the book?
No, the book has never been published.
Oh,
They're
okay,
there.
okay.
But this book, I in 1977, The Voyage, I wrote while I was walking down the street in 1977. And the Holiday Inn had been bombed already, and I was staying at the Beirut International Hotel. And I was walking down the street, and I wrote a series of poems. And the poems are in this book, The Voyage. But the poems are about Beirut, but they are about my country, this country, and they're about Los Angeles. I got off the plane in Beirut in '75. I looked around, and I said, is this Los Angeles, but it looks like San Francisco? Will the same thing happen in Los Angeles? And I don't even know why I said that. There's no logical, reason. And today, 31 years later, or 30 years later, but I wrote him 31 years ago, it's getting to that place.
Wow.
And I promoted Unity and Oneness in Los Angeles, and the media and the film industry were closed. And I couldn't get from here to the population at all.
You couldn't sell the idea at that time?
No, up until now. And I said maybe it is to be sold through other people and not through the media or the film industry, because there are 14.5 million people there. And if I'm supposed to meet them, whoever they may be, that will fund or finance something like this, because I wanted to do syndicated TV shows on the mythology and folklore of cultures.
That's nice.
With a lot of humor and fun, because there's a lot of fun and a lot of humor in every country.
Yes, I believe so.
Everywhere.
And you can send the message easier with fun
humor.
and humor, yes.
Well, that's the way I did it everywhere. And so I had fun.
Yes.
And one woman said to me in Los Angeles, who was born and raised there, and I've been there 30 years, she said, the people here read things into things that aren't there. I said, yes, because my whole thing is about humor.
Yeah, okay.
And it's about really having fun with people, because I'm a people person. So everywhere I met, I was wide open, and when I went into places, I talked to everyone.
That's wonderful.
Because the place I'm from in this country, the Midwest, the people are friendly. And they do that. You can be anywhere in the gas station or the restaurant, and people will start talking to you.
Yes.
About
if you are friendly,
Yes.
they will be friendly with you.
Yes.
They will not start to be friendly with you if you are not friendly to begin with. Yes.
Yeah, so I was very open, and they felt this. And so if I was in Manila, but when I was in Asia, all the general managers of the hotel were from Germany. It was amazing. And Austria. And the restaurants were owned by Swiss Germans.
Also.
Yes. It was very interesting. And they're the ones that said, let's do the shows in Asia. And in Japan, the Japanese came forward, and in Beirut, it was the Lebanese.
Okay.
Completely. It wasn't Europe or American.
Yeah, not mixed.
No.
Yes.
No, it was strictly the Lebanese.
Yes.
And I didn't know anything about the Lebanese culture, but the Lebanese are cosmopolitan, and I was raised in a cosmopolitan household. And the Lebanese are open-minded.
Yes.
And I am.
I believe so.
Yeah, and I'm very open-minded, and no questions were asked. I asked no questions. They didn't ask me any questions, and we just did it.
Yes.
And when I arrived in Beirut, first of all, I met a man on the plane. He was American, and he said, if you stay at the Holiday Inn, I'll get you 50% off. I said, then that's where I'll stay. And we booked a room there, and I decided intuitively to go across the street to the St. George Hotel and pool, and I'm a swimmer. So I went to the swimming pool, and I said, I'm going to meet someone on a chaise lounge, where you sit. And within 5 minutes, a woman, Giselle, and her husband, Oleg, who was from Russia, sat down right next to me. And she said, what are you doing here? I said, I just arrived in Beirut today, and I want to have an art exhibition at the Holiday Inn. She said, I have a friend that works there. His name is Ghazi Bustani. Call him up, go to the hotel, I will call him, and he will give you an art exhibition.
Wow.
It was that easy. There were no...
It was easier life at that time, actually.
But it was easy.
Yes.
When you're in the right place, it's easy. And if you're not in the right place, nothing works.
Yes. I absolutely agree with you.
And when I was in Manila, that was easy. Very. And when I was in Athens, that was not easy.
Okay.
You know, and I left
Okay.
in 2 weeks. No, because they told me they never support women
Oh, okay.
and that I should leave.
Yeah. What about the other side of the Middle East? They don't support women that
Where?
much.
You
Middle
mean
East.
in Saudi Arabia?
Uh-huh,
well,
for example.
when I was in Turkey, you know how I got to Turkey?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. I was in Paris living, and I decided intuitively to go to a specific hotel. And I said, I think I'm going to meet someone in the destiny there. And, you know, nobody does this in the region I'm from, in the Midwest. I mean, they don't do this. I don't even...
Are you psychic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And they don't do this in the Midwest, but they would laugh. They would be open to me because I'm from there. I'm from there. But they're much more linear.
Okay.
This is a chair, this is a glass, like this. So I went to the hotel and I said, I'd like to book a room. They said, we don't have any left. I said, then I'll take the room of the maid.
Okay.
They said, because, you know, I don't take no.
Yeah.
If I think I'm supposed to be somewhere, I find a way. They said, are you sure it's in the attic? I said, fine. It was $10 at the
Okay.
time, you know. I said, okay, I'll take the room of the maid. So then I said to myself, you know, what am I really doing here? I haven't met anyone. I don't know who I'm going to meet. I think I made a mistake. The next day when I paid the bill, there was a man behind me from Istanbul. And I was paying my bill, he was paying his, and I was talking to him about my mystical spiritual journey. He said, why don't you come to Istanbul? And we'll sit down and talk after we both pay our bill. I said, great. So we sat down and talked, and he opened his briefcase. He said, here's a round-trip ticket. I said, do you mean it? His name was Ferdi Karaman. And he said, I mean it. And being from the middle of the country, I trusted him, because the Midwest is trusting.
Yes.
It has a naivete. So I showed up in Turkey, and Murad, the man who he worked for, met me at the airport, and he put me up in a hotel. And I had dinner with Ferdi one night, and I never saw him again, and I was there 3 months.
Okay.
Yes, 3 months in the hotel.
So it was the right journey for you. Okay. What did you do in Turkey?
Well, I was on TV and I was in newspapers, and I met a lot of Saudi Arabians who all came to me for readings.
Okay.
And I never met Saudi Arabians in my
Ladies
life.
or men?
Men.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This
And-
is something new.
Yeah, they all came to me for readings about their children, their wives, their businesses.
So they believe in that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was completely amazed. You know, God showed me ways where there were no ways. God showed me doors where I could never have opened them myself.
Yes.
Never.
I believe so. Without God's help, you will not do anything.
Yes. I had all these angels that came into my life, and I never would have met them any other way. And if the art field had been open, I never would have been on this journey.
Yes.
I would have been in the art field doing my art.
It meant to be this way.
Totally. You know, and I really had extraordinary magical stories.
Wow.
And 96% of the people that came through for me were men. I didn't know where the women were.
Maybe they didn't hear about you, or they are afraid to come to you.
I don't know, but I only met men, and I met these angels. Ferdi never had a reading with me. And I was in the newspapers doing a reading with an actress and a singer, and that was in Turkey. And it all fell into place. I didn't do anything.
Wow.
It just came to me, and I said, you know what? I am supposed to be in these places. Because when I was in other places in Europe, nothing came. I mean, I knew a woman who was a Canadian. Her name was Georgie Francis, and her husband was the ambassador from Lebanon in Brussels, and we met there when I lived there. And when she was living in the south of France in her condo, and I lived there for a while in the condo across the hall from her, because she had two, I ended up going to Brussels and lived in her empty apartment in Brussels. And I lived there for 8 months.
Okay.
You know, but she was Canadian and he was Lebanese, and he had passed away. But it was absolutely amazing but they were not open to me in Brussels.
Okay.
The people.
And how many months you stayed there?
8.
8 months, and they are not open to you?
At all.
If they were open to you, you will not come back.
Yes.
Okay.
So I met the diplomatic corps, the common market, and NATO.
Okay.
That's who I met in Brussels. But otherwise, I didn't meet any. I met 3 Belgians. I said, where are they? And the Belgians, the Flemish hated the Walloon, which are the French side, and the Walloons hated the Flemish. I said, oh, I'm promoting a unity and oneness.
Yes.
They hated my view.
Okay. Yeah. It's not. It doesn't fit over there.
No. And then I was in Holland, and that was magical in different ways. The art was not right for me again. So in 40 minutes, I got on the phone, and I promoted a television show using the 5-star deluxe hotels as historical landmarks, because they do have that there.
Okay.
And so I did a 30-minute television show there, and the Dutch don't like to pay for anything. They like they
Free
trade.
things, yes.
Yeah. So we traded, and they gave me phenomenal suites and places to stay, and I did a TV show on their hotels.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, I was creative.
Yes, I agree with that.
Enterprising and creative, and there were no compromises on me personally. It was just straightforward and honest.
Oh, that's the basic things to do.
Yes,
The right thing.
and I couldn't understand women in Los Angeles saying, well, I don't think it's possible. I said, the men in all regions respect, everybody has an energy.
Yes.
And if you present yourself in a certain way, the men will treat you that way.
Yes, yes. How you present yourself, people will accept that.
Yes.
If you went low class, they will not accept
No.
that. If you are, from the beginning, you start with this level, they will accept the level.
Totally.
Yes.
Well, they'll feel it.
Yes,
Immediately.
absolutely.
I mean, men are just as intuitive as women in another way, but they'll feel that. And so they came through for me. When I had my art in a gallery in Manila and I could not get it out because I left it there, I went to the head of Sabina Airlines in Brussels and I told him, he said, I will send a crew. When my crew goes to Manila, they will pick up your art in the gallery and bring it back. And that's how I got the art back.
Wow.
It was that easy.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah. And so my feeling about people all over the world, from everywhere, is very positive.
Okay. That's what we believe in also, and we talk about one word, and we are one family, and that's why the show, to let people know each other, to understand how similar, and we discuss our issues the same. Every culture have the same issue in America, actually.
The same.
And we are the same. God created us the same, so why we divide those?
Well, I think that people, it depends how they were raised, but although I'm of European ancestry, my mother and dad never discussed it, which was which group, which relative was from where, you know, and I didn't know. I just knew this was my uncle, this was my aunt, this was my cousin, but I didn't know people's backgrounds. And when I knew the people in Chicago where I grew up, I also didn't know.
Okay.
No, I never asked. My mother said, you don't ask things like that. And we lived along the lakefront. I didn't live in a neighborhood of one background.
Okay.
So I had not one clue. I was wide open, and I had no opinions. This is like this group will be this way. I had no point of view.
Yeah. How you will know if nobody discussed that matter in front of you to learn how?
No, I mean, I didn't have any derogatory anything towards anyone. So that's why I said only someone from the Midwest that's naive, like in a certain way, like that, could have taken this journey. Because people from either coast have very strong opinions, you know, about who's what background and who fits into what box. And I wasn't raised that way. I was raised outside the box.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And so as a result of being raised outside the box, I didn't put anyone else into a box. Even when I was in Beirut at the beginning of the war was in the mountains, so to me it didn't exist.
Okay, okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, I understand. So there is a lot to talk about it. Let's say stay tuned. We'll have more with Ms. MERHO. So we'll talk about the tape who brought MERHO to us. So beautiful journey, a beautiful journey. What is in it? What you can tell us about?
This is a guided meditation. And I did this like I do everything else off the top of my head. There's no script. I just sat down in the television studio. They played a Chopin, and I took people on a journey. I looked right into the camera and took people on a journey of faith, on healing, on peace, and on release.
That's what I like in it, but I like my viewers to know about it.
Well, this is what it's about. And this painting I did is at Point Doom in Malibu. You know, and I thought it was extremely peaceful, and it reflected the inside that is about peace and health and blessings and really seeing life in another way.
Wonderful. So I actually call to find out if you are still around, and to have the okay to show to my viewers.
You do have the okay.
So I have the okay.
Absolutely.
So I'll promise to show you this half-hour tape, and if you like it also, you can buy it. So next time. What about those books?
This book, The Voyage, with Reflections on Lebanon, I walked down the street and it came through me. Like that came through my, it came through me, not from me. And the drawings I found later on, and they were of Lebanese during the war. And for me, I met people that were Lebanese, and I didn't know who was Christian, who was Muslim, who was whatever. I didn't care. I just knew very nice people.
That's the right way, actually, because faith for God, not for us.
Yes.
It's their own way between God, them and God. Human being as a person is what we deal with.
Yes. And it didn't make any difference to me if they had told me, because I liked them for what they were. And they were open-minded, and for me, and I had never met Arabs before, and I had never been in the Arab world before, the people were really open and friendly to me. And they opened the door. You know, when they met me, and the Armenians I met in Beirut, when I had a stomach problem from eating something in Manila, you know, rancid oil and an omelet, one man had me over to his home just to feed me yogurt.
That's wonderful.
It was just like a friend, like my daddy.
Good human side, yes.
His wife was shopping. He had me over for lunch. She didn't care, and he was feeding me yogurt that they had made. And I mean, I met men. I met women in Beirut. I didn't meet women in Cairo, but I met Egyptians in London that were couples, husbands and wives, from Cairo. You know, but I didn't meet the women from the Arab world. I met the men.
Yeah, most likely maybe because business-wise in hotel rooms and things, or Hilton or whatever, business people. So there will be men more than women.
Yes, and I didn't meet women traveling alone.
Yeah.
And they were wonderful to me.
Yeah.
When we'd go to dinner, they would get the whole mezza thing, you know, all the hors d'oeuvres. I mean, I could have one meal a day because there was so much. It was so much food.
Yes, yes.
I would eat one meal and say I can't eat the other two.
Yeah, but if you went as traveling, not as business in hotels, you will meet families, and they are so nice also.
Yes.
Their hospitality is high quality and things. They are nice.
I just didn't have the opportunity, you know, because I did it in this way with my art. And then I didn't walk around the city myself because I didn't know where I was going in different countries. And they told me not to walk around at night in Beirut because they were having a war. I said, where's the war?
Okay.
I mean, and so I thought I'd read one poem short.
Okay.
There is no time for indulgent tears. There are no days, there are no years. There is no time for innocuous games. There is no winner, there's no one to blame. The path of destruction will be complete. Before the birth, there is endless defeat. Mangled and torn, released to the past, in order to see the light that will last. And this book, written in 1977 in Beirut, I self-published it in 82, and then I published it again in 83. And my parents were very proud of this book. They loved it. And the major part of my journey was circled around the Mediterranean region, where it was full
of history.
Yes, full of history. And it said, one woman interviewed me and said, "You fear the future of the United States." And I said, "I think this country and its connection with and influence upon the rest of the planet. When I stood in the Colosseum of Rome, I received a vision of America in flames. It was a frightening moment. The United States is an empire nation. It has the choice. The empire may use the power to affirm humanitarian principles throughout the planet, or the empire may choose to be blind and selfish. The United States is an island. Most of the people in it have no idea as to what is happening in other parts of the world." You know, and it's in
It is in 1980.
I wrote this in 77, and it was
77.
self-published in 82.
Okay.
Yeah, and I could never get it through Los Angeles, the poetry, which is not political or religious,
Yes.
because it had Lebanon on the cover, and I said, what difference does it make if it's Lebanon or Peru or Japan
Yes.
or Chile?
Yes, an area we don't know about. That's why we try to break the silence and talk about those issues and those people to understand each other.
Well, to me, everybody was the same.
Yes.
And there weren't any issues.
Yes.
I didn't.
I agree with you. That's the way I see it. But some people think different ways, so we try to educate them to know each other, that's all.
Well, the people that think differently, a lot of them grew up like this, with blinders on and in a box. It's environmental.
Yes, but also the education system also. You have not enough information in your system. In the Middle East system, there is more information about Europe and America.
Here there isn't.
No, we know about America and Europe before we come to America. We are in America and we are different culture, we are different ethnic group. American people doesn't know anything about that group, even we live here. So that's why we try now through shows, through the people.
I understand, and the education that I have is from my home. I had all types of art from Europe.
Family matters. The family was different.
My parents were different.
My parents too. So it was parents teaching the basic things at home, then the other things at school. But first school is home.
I understand. But I couldn't get a job in teaching in Los Angeles, California with a BFA and a master's degree in art and the humanities. And I said, why? I'm totally open-minded and the children love me. And one time I taught art at a private school, the Bel Air Private School. And they invited me to teach children 7 to 17 because the art teacher was gone the whole day. And I taught them about the philosophy and sociology and anthropology of cultures. And at the end of the day, the teachers came up to me and they said, "What's so good about you?" And I said, "Why? Nothing. I had a great day and I had a lot of fun with the students." They said, "Well, the students said you were the only intelligent teacher here."
Wow.
So I was never invited back.
Okay.
And
And you can tell why. Okay.
And I didn't mean that to happen.
Yeah. You were yourself.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's what you educate yourself with. So you give it to the students.
And I did it with humor, and they laughed, and we had a wonderful time, you know, and
you made the teachers feel that they are not intelligent enough to continue with you.
So I could never get a job here.
Yeah, it's better to let you go, not to feel that way.
Yeah, but I didn't even know until the end of the day. I mean, I was sorry.
Yeah.
I thought, why did they do this? Now what do we do?
For you, you did the best to catch the job, at least.
Yes, I did the best for the students, and they
yes.
loved me, and I loved them.
Yeah.
But I could never get through the middle person in Los Angeles in art, business, or education. You know, and I said, because in art, they weren't into all different cultures either.
Yes.
They were into their view of politics. When I was in Holland, they called liberal prostitution and drugs. That isn't liberal to me. It is what it is, but that's not liberal. Liberal to me is open-minded.
Yes.
And so we didn't have the same point of view, so that's why I said, you know what, I'll put together a TV show on the hotels and I'll stay out of everybody's opinion.
Okay.
And I won't say anything.
What about this book?
This book is about, it is very inspirational. It has amazing steps, prepare the way, a wake-up call, a healing balm, tools that heal, an invitation to the super daisy. And the super daisy is a man or a woman who goes beyond where he or she has ever been. My mother always said, reach beyond your grasp, and my father said, what you focus on, you recreate in your life.
Okay.
And you can rise to any occasion, he said to me. No matter what happens in your life, you can rise to any. And he used to read philosophy books and art books, and we like classical music and art, and I studied piano for 9 years. And this book is about creating journeys. It's about a passage to healing. It's about exploring the senses as one with all of creation. It's about oneness, but it's done on a spiritual level that embraces all faiths. It doesn't mention. It's a generic. And there's one prayer of forgiveness and release work, and that's what everybody needs to me.
Yes.
You have to forgive and let go.
Yes.
Because if you live in the past, whatever your past is, all you do is recreate it.
Yes. Yes.
And if you recreate your past, there's nowhere to go with the present.
And no way to think about future.
Well, there is no present.
Yes.
And there is no future.
Yeah.
And the people, in my experience, I don't mean everyone, I'm not talking about the private sector, and the one community that was open to me in Los Angeles, California was the medical community.
Wow.
They're open to me, interestingly enough, and some parts of corporate. And I said, and some people that are therapists and educators, they were open to me, but the arts weren't. And I thought, what, I'm not talking about friends, I mean the field. And I said, what is it? First I thought maybe I'm not educated enough. So what that meant that I kept getting more and more educated, and they kept disliking it more and more.
Because you become the gap between you and them very
was impossible.
Wide, yeah.
Well, they had no idea where I was coming from.
Yes.
And I said to people in commerce, I said, if you don't allow other people in, and you're only talking about what happened 60 years ago, you are creating a fortress and walls, and although you may love, everybody may want to love you, and you won't let them.
Okay.
Because if you create a wall,
yes,
that wall will not protect you in the end, whoever you are.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what religious group, what nationality group, what racial group. When you create walls, the walls will destroy you from within the walls.
Yeah, because communication and knowing each other, this is the things will build up better tomorrow or better today.
When I was in Holland, and this is nothing against anyone, because the Dutch were wonderfully hospitable to me, the food was good, and they were open-minded in a way. But the Christians and the Jews in Holland that I met were still talking about World War II. And I was talking about the beauty of your soul is the moment of magic, and this magic is all that each one of us really is, and we weren't talking about the same.
Today, yeah.
This moment.
Yeah, this moment.
And I said, you have to embrace the divinity within everyone. So nobody heard me.
Yeah.
And they didn't like my point of view, but I said, my point of view is harmless.
Yes, yes. It's become their comfort zone. They don't want to leave it.
Yeah,
they don't want to let it go.
But it's not positive.
It's not at all. War is war, you know. And you talk about history. You don't talk about today, something in the past. So how you connect it with today? You know, you live with a certain time like you are not exist now. You are not here.
I know. And that was the problem that I had in Europe. Totally. And I love the people I met. And I met aristocrats. I met them walking down the streets, in elevators, anywhere. Because I was always lost. I don't have a good sense of direction, you know.
Okay.
But this book is about, there's one chapter in it. It's called, I have $14, I think I'll go to Tokyo.
Okay.
And I've got a tape on this too, and it's hilarious, but it's how I manifested. And I believe the disaster can bless your life. And if you think you are in a box because of the disaster, that's your own thinking and it's your own box.
I believe so. I agree with you. Yes.
And if you open up every door and window and say, God, I don't care where it's coming from. If I have to get in the car and drive to Monrovia. 6 months ago I said, I think I'll go to Monrovia. I mean, I was walking down the street singing a little song, you know. And I thought, where's Monrovia? Is it in Yugoslavia?
So
I'm in Monrovia.
yeah, you find it in the map after all.
No,
Close by.
somebody called me, you, a week ago and said she lived in Monrovia. I said, oh, did I do this 6 months ago?
Okay.
I said, I've been waiting.
You have the feeling.
The
6 months
premonition.
ago, yes.
Yeah, that I'm going to meet someone from Monrovia, and I kept thinking, do I need to get on the plane and go to Europe?
Okay. No, it was closer a little
Yeah,
bit.
thank you. Thank you.
You're
I could walk here. I could walk. I didn't have to fly.
Okay. What about those?
I created Faces of Humanity to promote oneness, and a Danish friend of mine, Lisa Delegata, picked out the faces, and people said to me, how come you don't have more women? And I said, then you have to talk to Lisa, because she picked out all men.
Okay.
Except 2 women.
Okay.
But this is an Afghan and his son, and I thought it was very poignant, you know, and so I liked it because it showed a sense of humanity, that he was with his son. And this is a Norwegian, and I embellished on his wrinkles, and I call him the comedian.
Okay.
And this is a man from the West Indies. And these are drawings I made that were like 18 by 24. And I still have about 9 left. I sold the rest of the set. This is a man from North Africa. And this is a man from Shanghai.
You look like Alaska.
Well, everybody thinks he's from Alaska, so I said, fine.
Okay.
Then he'll be from Alaska.
So in your mind, it is from Africa,
North Africa.
Okay.
But if they think it's Alaska, then it's fine.
Okay. It's okay.
No, I don't mind. But this,
People look alike sometimes.
yes,
No
and it's
problem,
fine.
yeah.
And this man is not from Alaska,
okay.
but this,
Okay.
he's from Shanghai.
Okay.
But I have to tell you, one woman from France said, you must take this to France because they will think this is a Frenchman.
Okay. Okay. And hair eyes.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, in Eastern Europe, all over Eastern Europe, there is such a mixture of Asian bloodlines that there are people in Eastern Europe that would be considered white Europe that could even look like this, even though this is from Shanghai. You know, because there's such a combination. And this is a man who is an Incan from Peru.
Okay.
But some people think it's a woman, and fine.
Okay.
And this is a man who's a camel herder from Arabia.
Okay.
I sold him. I don't have him anymore. And this is a woman from the Andes Mountains that had been in an earthquake. And this is
She's still scared.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I thought being from the Midwest, I like interesting faces with character.
Yes.
And in LA, they said, why do they have wrinkles? Because LA's into facelifts.
Oh, okay. Baby boomer now.
Yeah, right.
Everybody talk about facelifts.
Yeah, the women and the men, both.
Yeah.
And this is the chief of the Washakis. He's a Shoshone. His name is Washaki. And the reason I liked him is that I was really drawn to doing him is because a little white girl was kidnapped, and 8 years later, he found her in another tribe and took her back to her parents.
Wow.
And I thought, I'm going to do a drawing of this man.
Yes, you deserve it.
Yes. And this is a man from Ethiopia. And the Ethiopians are a mixture of Arabic and black, you know, African.
Yes.
But some of the Ethiopians don't know that, but I told them.
Okay.
They said, oh, no, we're only African. I said, no, there's Arab bloodlines too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's an Ethiopian. And this man is a farmer on a train in India. But some of my friends from Denmark think he's Danish. So fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, everybody has a view. And this is a woman who was in her 90s, and she was a very famous koto player from Japan. And the koto is a traditional Japanese instrument, music instrument. And she's probably not alive today, but this is the woman.
Okay, that's wonderful, actually. It's a good job.
Thank you.
What about, what do you have in this book?
I created, the stained glass is on the cover, but I created in 1974 through a meditation class drawings and writings of what was going to happen at the turn of the century, 30 years from then. And that's what made me go around the world. I said, oh my God, it must be my country. I wonder if it's my country and Europe. What is it that I'm supposed to do? What is part of my life plan or my destiny? And I had other plans, not this whole thing with 8 years. I thought I was going to do everything in 6 months. In 74, then there'd be a movie on it. in France, and then that's it.
Okay.
But I was a little out of sync. So I made this one drawing, and it was published in a New Mexican newspaper, the Light magazine, in 2005 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And this is the World Trade Center. This is a profile of Bush. This is the Egyptian, or the symbol for the Egyptian. This is the funeral. This is the plane. This is Bin Laden, and this is the anthrax spore.
What year is this one?
I did this in 1974.
Okay.
And 119 backwards is 9/11.
Wow. 1974. Wow. Wow.
You know, so it's 119 and then it's 9.
How it comes to your mind?
I don't know.
Bin Laden and Bush.
But I didn't know this was Bin Laden and Bush.
Yeah.
But when I looked at it, I hadn't looked at it in years. I carried it around the world with me. I never showed this to people in the Arab world. We were talking about my art or other things, and it was in a suitcase for all the years, except when I got to Europe. I should have shown it to people from the Middle East. They would have understood it. In Europe, it was like a wall. I showed this to Anne-Marie Ehrenkron in 1974, before I was in the Middle East. I said, this is all prophetic drawings. She heard nothing. She was a journalist in Stockholm. She had write-ups on all different things. She was interested in channeling. For whatever the reason, she couldn't see me.
She cannot read it. She cannot understand. That's why she didn't connect with you.
No.
Yeah.
No, she liked me as a person.
Yeah, connect with your ideas. Your
No, and I
vision.
told her in 74, we need to support a united effort and an individualistic expression, because what will happen in 30 years from now will be a nightmare. She just ignored everything I said. Every single thing. And interestingly, and I have scientific inventions, but they're not in this book, but on the first page, it says channeling notes from the infinite source of unlimited supply. January 26, 74. The religious wars, the Crusades of 1000 AD, could easily have a manifestation in the present time of 1974 and on, especially into the 80s, 90s, and turn of the century. Extreme fighting will ensue if a unification of thought is not brought into being in the here and now. Many of the religious groups of today are on a level of extreme emotionalism. For them, the pendulum swings, and where it stops is where they are. With the extreme ecstasy of the emotions is the opposite. The chaos that will result if situations and thought are not remedied now cannot even be imagined. Although the source of all is one in total wholeness, the outer garments will differ and hence confusion. Most sheep will not dwell beneath the surface. There is no need to relive past horrors and mistakes. Take the wisdom from the Crusades so that the new course can open.
Wow.
No one heard me. I can't, this is not anything that's dangerous or anything.
Yeah.
And then I made this drawing, which is in color. And what came through me, I don't know if this is true, was Nijkid, N-I-J-K-I-D. I have no idea what that word means, what language it's from, but it said it meant freedom. I don't know if it means freedom. I mean, intellectually.
In your mind, it's a man freedom.
No, the thing that came through me, like the writing, this writing is from me. I stand beside this writing. This writing is from me. This...
A vision.
Yes, prophetic and premonition kinds of things. And the writing is too. And so this is a cross, and this is the Islamic...
symbol.
Yeah. And this is a Jewish star, and I don't know what... This looks like the World Trade Center, but I don't really know the symbolism of all this, and someone will have to come forward in my life and say, I know how to dissect this, I know how to depict this, and I know exactly what this is, because I'm a person that likes to know precisely.
Okay.
I mean, whoever heard of someone who's so precise doing something that she can't depict?
Okay. No, maybe you didn't understand at that time what is in your mind, but you translate it to picture.
Yes.
At least. Somebody can read it maybe, or group of people can read pieces and
put it together.
Be together. Yes.
Yeah, because I need that, because I personally can't do it. And then there were other drawings that looked like they were from other cultures, like this. And I said, I don't know what this word means, whether it's an H, a U, whether this U is a U or this is Egyptian. I don't know what this means.
But there is faces also.
Yes. And I said, is this from the Mu culture or Atlantis? Or
Yeah.
where is this from?
I don't know really.
And I don't either.
So we can think about somehow the way to let the viewers share the idea, and
Please.
maybe they give an idea about what they can see in it.
Please.
So we'll have it as a project.
Okay.
Actually, we have a lot to talk about it, and the 1 hour show will not be enough for that, and we are very, very pleased to have you with us some other time too.
Thank you.
And it wasn't by accident to call you after 10 years.
No.
And here we are again, and hopefully we'll hear from you and learn from you and share with you.
I would adore
your
it.
wellness, your oneness, and this is what we believe in.
And me too.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank
I love it too.
Thank you.
Thank you, my viewers. We'll have Miss MERHO one more time or more times maybe to learn from her and maybe share her ideas. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Ourselves. We are aligning ourselves with the perfection that we were meant to be and that we have always been. Let go of more and more of the baggage. See yourself right now on a great cliff overlooking a gorgeous sea. See yourself sitting there. The air is sweet. The air is enveloping. It's very, very light. And you are also very light. Breathe deeply and wholly in this great beauty, in this great sensitivity, and know that this intuitive sensitivity on every level is within you, and it's all about you. Go forward and embrace the water's edge, and as you have your toes at the water's edge and you begin to feel the water slowly, beautifully, delicately, with magnificent nuance touching your toes, you begin to feel the water inhaling, surrounding, protecting you. For when you came into this world, you came out of the water. And what you do for your healing is you go back into it. And I want you to visualize this sea of enormous worth. And I want you to visualize and experience it.
The key to infinite worth.